Hi everyone, I hope everybody are doing good. In this video today we are going to discuss about the concept called as tools that are widely used in current market. You may have seen while you are applying for jobs or while you are learning period, like in a DevOps we do have several DevOps tools, and each tool has its own usage. So today we are going to list out all the tools by dividing its type. And as we know, if you want to list out all the tools in DevOps, you may get a count of at least 10 to 15 tools and more. So I'm going to write it down all the tools as a list which are mostly widely used in current market. So first I would like to start with the source code management, which means where we store our source code into a remote repository. And if you take example, we have a GitHub. So GitHub have step into in the market as a initial days, and we have other tools. So I'm going to write it down all the tools in this here, and what tools have its usage and what kind of um, type it comes under. So the first one is source code management, which is a SCM. We call it as a SCM and SCM, which is a source code management. So under this tool, we do have the majorly used tools. So even in the current market, and even in the most of the practitioners use that. The first one is GitHub. And the second, we have GitLab. And we do have a Bitbucket. And we have a Azure repo. And other tools. But these all the tools are widely used in current market. So GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure repo. So these all tools are available in terms of community editions, and it do available on enterprise edition too. And this is the tools have listed under the source code management, where you do store your source code and give access to your team fellow members, and you can create your own organization. And the second time is a project management tool, or we can call it as a build tool. Under this type, if you are using Java projects, so we do require a tool to build it or compile it. So in the current market, we do have two tools have taken its own way of I can say the place. The first one is a Maven, and the second one is Gradle. So if you are setting up your pipeline, so you should require a project management tool to create your folder structures for your project. And you do need a tool to make your source code as packaged. So for that all the requirement, we can use Maven and Gradle under this section. And the third tool I'm going to list out, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery and deployment tool. So which one we can, in short terms, we can say it as a CI/CD tool. This is the CI and CD tool type. So when CI and CD terms have comes in the mind, most of the peoples give a priority, and it's not even priority, I can say, but everybody says that, hey, there is a tool have widely used in past days, which is Jenkins. So the first one I'm going to list under the CI/CD tools, that is a Jenkins. Because of why most of the organization have familiar with this Jenkins, and the reason why this CI/CD term has arisen from this tool. The creator who have created the CI/CD automation, he has invented the tool name called as Jenkins. So starting days, every company had been using it. Later, they do have stick with other tools as per the requirement. And other type I can say Circle CI, and we have a Travis CI, and we do have a GitHub Actions, and we do have Azure DevOps. Last but not the least, we do have the GitLab. So these all the tools are used in the current market as a continuous integration and deployment and delivery tools. And we do have other tools also. And during these days, I have been looking into the requirement portal, requirement channel, saying that, hey, we do want a person who knows the harness. Harness is another tool have been taking taking a place during these current days. I can say taking a place, which means like most of the organization has been using harness as per their requirement. So we have discussed the source code management tool and build tool, and I can say project management tool and continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now we are going to discuss about another type, which one is a container runtime tool. I can say container tool in the short. So under this section, there are several types of tools are available in the market. But I'm going to list out the tools which have widely used in current market. The first one is, as most of the people know, is called as a Docker. And the second one is Containerd. And we do have a Rocket also. So these three tools are widely used for container runtime. Let's example, in a current DevOps industry, we do have two types of deployments. One is a package-based, another one is container-based. So if you are using package-based deployment, these tool you don't need to use it. But if you have a microservice deployment that you wants to isolate your environment, that time you need to use these tools to make your source code isolated, and you can then the deployment. Fine. So we have discussed about container runtime. But what if you have hundreds of containers, and these containers needs to be a manager to manage it, or it does require driver to make it driven. So in a technical terms, I am going to say that orchestration. So orchestration is nothing but like you are going to run your containers, and you're going to manage your containers. So in a market, in orchestration tools, we have several, but I'm going to list out the few tools which have been using widely in the current market. So the first one is, sorry, I haven't written the type, orchestration tool. So when the word comes in orchestration, you may heard about the Kubernetes, you may heard about the Docker Swarm and OpenShift. The reason why I'm rising up the first Kubernetes and later Docker Swarm and OpenShift, because of in the current market, most of the organizations, and either 50 to 50%, or I can say, or 60 to 40%, or 70 to 30%, organization has been using as per the requirement. The first is a Kubernetes. And the second one is the Docker Swarm. And the third one is OpenShift. So as per their requirement, current industrialist has been using these all the container runtime, orchestration tools. And as I mentioned, like if you are using containerization deployment, I mean, if you are using container runtime to make your microservice deployed, so you do require orchestration tool. Even there is a catch. If you have a n number of containers are running in your infrastructure, if you required a manager or if you do require a driver to drive these containers, so that situation you do require this orchestration tool. And the next type we are going to discuss is called as a cloud computing. I can share in short terms is called as cloud or cloud providers. So under this type in the market we do have several cloud providers, but I'm going to list out few providers who have occupied the huge amount of shares in the market. The first one is the AWS, we call as a Amazon Web Service, and the second time called as Azure Cloud. And the third type is called as a Google Cloud. So why have listed out all these tools one by one? Because of the AWS have stepped into the market as initially, and it has gained the trust in terms of cloud computing in the starting stage. It has given vast amount of services with a good price, and later Azure came into the market, and they do have competence in between, and they also given very good services. Later, Google Cloud came into the market. So these three clouds has been using during these days as real time, and most of the organization have been using their as per their requirement all these cloud providers. But yeah, we do have seen like few companies has been using multi-cloud. Like they may have few services on AWS and Amazon. I mean, I can say Amazon Web Services, or they may have few services on Azure, and they can do cross cloud deployments. And we do have several types of services can be used in between these different clouds. So yeah, and till this point we have discussed about the cloud and cloud providers in the market. And if you are a DevOps engineer, you should you should know what is a scripting. So we have listed all the tools which are mostly used, and you should know the scripting. So when you heard about the scripting, it doesn't require in terms of developer. Like you don't need to have a script like a developer, but you should have a scripting knowledge. And if you are mentioning the scripting knowledge, you can say that Bash or Shell scripting or Python. But there is another scripting type called as HashiCorp scripting. So if you want to automate this cloud as a code, I can say infrastructure as a code. The term called as the real standardized term called as infrastructure as a code, which means your services has been hosted in one cloud, and every time what usually the people do, they do go to log into the particular console, and they do uh, as per their operations, and they do enable all the requirements. So it's kind of task to go every time and do the logging and go here and there page. So that's why to simplify this all the issues. So one tool has came into the market and years ago, and it has gained very popularity in the current market, which called as infrastructure as a tool, and none other than HashiCorp Vault Terraform. So we are going to discuss about the infrastructure as a tool as in the list. I'm going to write as a short term, which is a IaaC, which called as infrastructure as a code. I mean, in the standard terms. As I mentioned, HashiCorp Vault has brought the tool called as a Terraform. So Terraform, what it do, it is going to take your API values of secrets and which cloud, whatever you used. So accordingly, you need to write some script. You need to just write the skeleton of your cloud that you are going to apply the operations, and later you just need to click on single go. What it will do, it will go to your cloud provider and it will do all the operations and that you have instructed in the file as a code. So the first one is a HashiCorp Vault as a tool I'm going to mention. And so, as I mentioned, HashiCorp Vault can be can be used for all the clouds. I can say it's a universal tool that you can use for across all the cloud providers. Even you can use for local also. And you may ask the question, hey, why don't these all the tools have? All the cloud providers does not have its own infrastructure as a tool. But yeah, we do have for AWS. We do have a cloud formation for Azure. We do have a ARM templates and all. So I'm going to mention list of the tools that specific to the cloud providers. So as I mentioned, cloud formation templates. This cloud formation is only for AWS. It won't apply for Azure. And the next one, I'm going to write it down here. I have some less space issues. So the second one is ARM, which is only apply on Azure. Azure Cloud. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Like if you want to use, if you are using AWS Cloud and if you want to make our infrastructure as a code, that situation, you can use Cloud Formation. That's up to you, your requirement. And if you don't want to use, you can use HashiCorp Vault. Sorry, I forgot. I mentioned HashiCorp Vault. My bad. It's a Terraform. Sorry. I'm sorry, like I forgot to mention the name, but instead of I written the Vault, my bad. But yeah, Terraform is a tool which have widely occupied space in terms of infrastructure as a code, and Terraform can be used as universal tool where you can do the automation by writing the script as a HashiCorp language, and you just need to specify the resources and all, and it can in a single go it will go in your cloud provider and it will create all the resources that you have mentioned. So fine, like we have discussed about source code management, CI/CD tools, and project management, build tool, and container runtime and orchestration. So as I mentioned, as a DevOps engineer, you should have knowledge of scripting. So while you're mentioning the scripting, I'm going to write it down here. The first type I can say is shell or bash scripting. I'm going to mention here. So shell, bash. And the second type is a Python. So you may ask me a question, hey, why do we need to learn this programming scripting languages or programming language? Because like as I mentioned, like in a CI/CD tools, you are going to write pipeline as a code. So if you want to automate some steps or some jobs by writing a script, so that situation you can use a shell or bash scripting while implementing your pipeline as a code. So as I mentioned, while writing a source code as a while writing your pipeline as a code, if you have some set of rules you want to mention, or if you want to mention some automation, so that situation you can use a shell or bash scripting. And what about Python? You can ask me the question. So, and Python is mostly used if you want to make automation in between the server level, from one server to another server, or if you want to make any upgrades, or if you want to make any visualization, or if you want to make any OS level operations. So that situation you can use a Python. So you don't need to worry about the scripting because of you don't need to learn as a developer, but you should have a knowledge, fair knowledge on scripting. If you get any automation task, so you should be ready to make and apply your skills towards the automation. So fine, mostly we have discussed all the tools that mostly are widely used in current market, and I'm going to finish this video now, and we'll meet in the next session for upcoming DevOps DevOps concept. And if you have any queries, you can drop in a comment section, and feel free to drop your comments on this video. And if I miss some tools, and you can mention the tools, and I'll bring the videos in future sessions. And like this video and subscribe it and share to your friends. Thank you. Stay safe.